Direct antioxidants to indirect antioxidants is the analogy of a house that's on fire. If we imagine your body is the house and the fire is oxidative stress, you want to extinguish that fire. A direct antioxidant, such as a tiny dose of vitamin C, tiny meaning maybe a 1-gram capsule a day, would be equivalent to tossing a tumbler full of water on a house fire. It's a tiny increment, and the fire that happens to be hit by the water might be extinguished, but in the big picture, that's a trivial effect. Indirect antioxidants, on the other hand, might be analogous to a fireman arriving, hooking up a huge fire hose to a hydrant in front of the house, opening that hydrant. So now you have a continuous stream of antioxidant power, if you will, directed at this house. And to go back to the analogy of 1 versus a million per second, perhaps that fire hose could fill up 1,000 glasses every second, and it can do that second after second after second. So it's really pumping water. And that's kind of a dramatic illustration of the difference between this quantized, finite little bit of antioxidant delivery that's used up as opposed to a continuous, endless stream.
Well, a river certainly beats an eyedropper.
Exactly.
Listening to you say this, it's really a big paradigm shift and a sea change, really, in how we view antioxidants and how they really should be promoted for the betterment of health. Protandim taking this new approach. Can you talk to us a little bit about the science of Protandim? You mentioned the messenger going to the cell and talking to the DNA to produce this SOD or other antioxidant enzymes. From the time I swallow a Protandim tablet, walk me through some basic science as to what happens.
Let me give you yet another analogy, and I'll relate this to oxidative stress and the aging process. The process that goes on in the internal combustion engine of an automobile produces some of the same reactive byproducts, free radicals, that our cells produce, because the combustion process is pretty much the same chemistry. It goes slower in a cell than in your engine, but the products are not that different. When you buy a new car and drive it off the showroom floor, it's in pretty good balance, and it's like a young cell or a young human being. It has very little oxidative stress going on. As the car ages, the aging process means the combustion process is not so tightly controlled. The engine wears, the tolerances become greater, the fuel mixture and the oxygen mixture are not quite perfect, and you get a dirty burn, and a lot of pollutants, reactive, noxious things come out the exhaust pipe of that car. And cars, for the last few decades, have mandated by law a catalytic converter that cleans up that process catalytically. Very closely analogous to the way cells clean up the process when they burn their fuel. So on the car, it's part of the exhaust system, and it does a good job of completing the combustion process, cleaning it up. And so a new car has much cleaner exhaust if it has a catalytic converter. A cell is much better off with its antioxidant enzymes, which are its catalytic converter. If you look at the aging process and the fact that oxidative stress increases with aging, whether we're talking about cars or cells or human beings, you might say, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a car that as it aged could grow its catalytic converter so it could take care of the increased amount of pollutants that are being produced by combustion? And you could put a new fresh catalytic converter or a bigger one on an old car and clean it up. And you might say, wouldn't it be wonderful if our cells could grow their catalytic converters? And in fact, that's exactly what Protandim does. Protandim increases the production of the cell's catalytic converters, the antioxidant enzymes, so that an old cell that's producing more of these byproducts because of age, wear, and tear can now clean up that excess free radical production, and that cell can restore its oxidative balance to the same level as a much younger cell. And in fact, in the clinical trial of Protandim, we saw this at the organismal level. In an adult human being, an 80-year-old, before taking Protandim, may have 2 or 3 times the oxidative stress level of a young 20-year-old, a healthy individual, both of them healthy, one of them older. After Protandim, that difference is completely eliminated. So let me state that very clearly. Protandim completely eliminated the age-dependent increase in markers of oxidative stress. So at the end of 30 days, you could draw blood from these two individuals, 180, 120, and you couldn't tell any difference, whereas before Protandim, there are about 3 times as many markers of oxidative stress in the older person than the younger.
So you're a couple years older than me, Dr. McCord. If we both spilt blood right now, would you be able to tell who is younger?
If you're taking Protandim, I couldn't tell. If you're not taking Protandim, yours would be higher than mine, in fact, because I am taking Protandim.
That's an incredible statement. So talk about the validation of that. What kind of verification or studies have been done to prove that? It sounds too good to be true. How have you proved it?
It does. And, aging is complex, and I don't want people to misunderstand what's meant by anti-aging properties. Chronological age obviously can't be changed. If you're 80 years old, you're still going to be 80 years old because that's measured in years. It's a chronological age. But biochemical age is something quite different. So we can measure biochemical indicators of aging, and the one we measured in our clinical trial the acronym is TBARS, and it's the most widely used single parameter for assessing aging or oxidative stress associated with aging. So more than 8,000 papers have been published using this marker as a marker for lipid peroxidation or aging. And it's quite dramatic and quite significant that Protandim is able to completely block this component, this facet of the aging process.
Dr. McCord, we hear a lot about glutathione being an important antioxidant. Is that true?
Definitely it's true. Glutathione is a metabolite produced by our body, so it's not like a vitamin. Vitamins, by definition, have to be taken in from another source. Our bodies can make glutathione. The enzymes that produce glutathione are, in fact, among these antioxidant enzymes, so they are controlled in the same way. And Protandim upregulates those enzymes that produce glutathione. So in a paper we published in early 2009, shows that human cells treated with Protandim produce about 3 times as much glutathione as without Protandim. And this is not by giving glutathione as a supplement or even giving precursors. It's simply by increasing the amounts of enzymes that our bodies normally have that make glutathione. The glutathione utilizing antioxidant enzymes are a subset of the total antioxidant enzymes, and very important. They carry a big part of the burden in protecting us from oxidants.
So how does glutathione work in conjunction or synergistically with the other enzymes such as SOD or catalase?
It's not involved directly with SOD or catalase. It's only involved with the enzymes that make glutathione, a family of enzymes called glutathione peroxidases. There are about 6 of those that use glutathione to help get rid of other oxidant products that are produced in the cell. And there's an important enzyme called glutathione reductase that recycles glutathione. So glutathione, with the help of these enzymes, actually is recyclable. It's a metabolite that helps a certain subset of oxidative antioxidant enzymes work efficiently. Glutathione is required up to a point. It can become rate limiting, but in most cases, it is not rate limiting. So if you add excess glutathione when you don't really need it, you're not going to get a change in the outcome. However, the enzymes that utilize glutathione will have an effect. So it's a rather complicated biochemical system, but it's fully understood by scientists. And by far, I think the best approach is to increase the enzymes that not only make glutathione, but the enzymes that utilize glutathione and recycle it. And Protandim can do all of that. And as I said, it's been demonstrated that Protandim can increase the steady-state glutathione concentration by 3-fold in cultured human cells.
Protandim has 2 patents, as we understand, and 1 that's pending. Can you walk us through what the patents are?
Patenting natural products is not always a simple process because you didn't invent that compound.